Hello and welcome, Inspired Podcast community. This is your new episode. My name is Caroline, and my today's guest is Alison Williams. And I'm so happy that she said yes to our interview. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Caroline. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, I'm excited too, and I would like to introduce you to the audience. Of course, you are a transformative executive coach who helps high achieving professionals break free from the patterns keeping them stuck, guiding them toward aligned, sustainable success. Your work is rooted in personal experience from rebuilding after a major life reckoning to exiting a successful firm to pursue purpose over prestige. Welcome to the Inspired Podcast. Wow, Alison Williams.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I'm inspired already by your bio. And my first question is, you've walked away from success twice. What did those moments teach you about alignment that no business book ever could?
Oh, what a great question. Oh my goodness, we're starting off with the tough ones. So yeah, I walked away from a six-figure career, not once but twice. I do have my MBA, and I can assure you they do not teach this in business school, and they should, frankly. But there's this what I call a whisper of discontent that starts to creep in like tentacles of smoke into your life. And you don't really realize they're there until you start suffocating from the smoke because so much has entered in. I think the first time it was not really my plan. I got laid off from a job that I had poured myself into. Um, and I had never been laid off before or lost a job. I always resigned and moved on to my next best move. And so it really rattled me. And I remember very specifically on the way home from that event happening, tears, you know, angry girl music on the radio. And I suddenly had this vision of a TV show I had watched, 60 Minutes or something like that. And there was a woman who had built a successful bakery after a layoff, and she said, "That layoff was the best thing that ever happened to me." And I remember thinking in the moment, "I'm gonna make this the best thing that ever happened to me." And, I decided to take some time off. I had the ability to do that, and I had was given a very generous severance, and so I decided to use that to my advantage and really just take some space to breathe. I had been through a divorce, I had been through, I'd finished graduate school, I had been through a lot, and I decided to just take that space. And when I came to a fork in the road where I had an opportunity to go and continue on down the path I was on and in a corporate setting, with a six-figure job. At the same time, I was approached by someone who wanted me to join him in his executive search business. And I would be taking a risk because there was no safety net. It was all, eat what you kill. There was no salary, there was no bonus, there were no benefits, and I really was inspired to go that route because I realized that, I was looking at the safe job, what I should do as a single mom of 2 kids who needs healthcare, right? The safe thing to do, the stable and secure thing to do would be take the job with the salary and the benefits and all of that. And then it occurred to me, well, wait a minute, Allison, you just came from that. How safe was it? Because you lost your job unexpectedly, not because of anything you did. And I was like, it's time for me to start betting on myself. So I took the quote unquote unsafe route. And we had a successful partnership for nearly 9 years in executive search and built a really incredible business. And I'm forever grateful to him for that opportunity and the opportunity to grow. But about, a couple of years ago, I started feeling the tentacles creep in again, And, I thought, "Well, maybe I need to do things differently. Maybe I need to expand my skill set." I'm a business owner now, so I have the flexibility to go and explore new things. And ultimately, where we landed is that, we just agreed that the business had run its course. We were no longer aligned on where we wanted to go, and we ended things very amicably. And here I am starting it all over again. So that's my story.
What a great story. I'm inspired, of course, by your story because you did this twice and but you listen to your engine, and this is also what this podcast is about because it's very intuitively also the guest, you came to me or we were matched together, whatever, and now and it fits perfectly because yeah, it inspires me. And I had a similar experience with my first business. It was like I had a burnout, and then I quit or I exited this business, and then I started all over, and here I am doing podcast with you. And yeah,
That's
for
amazing.
example, and my next question is, high achievers often stay stuck because their patterns look like success. How do you help them recognize what's really holding them back?
Oh, I love this question. So, yeah, success, I believe that every good thing also has a dark side to it. And success is no different. Success on the surface can look and feel like a life we're supposed to be living. But what one of the things I like to do with my clients who feel trapped is I like to get them in this place of, if you could and it sounds corny, but if you could wave a magic wand and have the life you dreamed of, what would it look like? And it's really, really hard for people, and I know this because I've been there. It's really, really hard sometimes to step out of the day to day of all the things we should be doing because of the responsibilities of, owning and leading a company, being a parent, being a spouse or a partner, taking care of all the people around us. It can be really hard. And where they struggle is it feels selfish. It feels selfish to dream. And so I try to create space for people to say, if you could wave a magic wand, what would your ideal day look like? What would it look like? What would you get to do that you don't get to do? And so we reverse engineer it from there. So okay, if this is the ideal, the dream, maybe we don't have the ability to achieve that today, but what are some things we can achieve today? And so often the things that we want are really simple. We want space to spend time with the people we love and care about. We want space to I mean, some people just need to sleep. It just needs to sleep. You can't make good decisions. You can't be strategic if you're tired. They want space to sleep. They want space to go on vacation and not have to worry about email when they go back. And so much of that is in our control. And we forget about how much control we actually have over our own lives because we step into this space where we're serving everyone else and we forget to serve ourselves.
Oh, that's true. Yes, I can relate to that. Also, with the sometimes it's the little things like sleep, and we live in denial, so we are not true to ourselves, and then you come into play and help others. And my next question is, what's a powerful question you ask a client when they are at a major career or identity crossroads?
The first question I ask people when they come to me and they're looking to make a change, particularly in their career, is, are you running towards something or are you running away from something? And if they are running away from something, that's where the work starts and we start to unpack that. What are you running away from? Why are you running away from it? How can you stay and resolve that? Because what we do as humans is we tend to take our problems with us. And if we don't figure out what we're running away from, we won't realize we could be running towards the same thing and not realize it. And so it's really important to do that. That's why, in my career as a recruiter, we saw people all the time who had, 5 jobs in 5 years and they kept moving. Well, I went into this job and, it wasn't what I thought it was gonna be, and it wasn't what I thought it was gonna be, and, the questions that I ask is, "Well, how are you gonna know that this time is the right move?" And if we don't stop and pause to really try and figure out and determine what are we looking for that we're not seeing today, then we'll never know if we find it. So my number one question is, are you running towards something or are you running away from something? And that was actually given to me by a colleague, and I thought, "Oh, that's brilliant. May I steal it?" And he's like, "Absolutely." So, it's just the best question.
Yes, it is. Thank you so much. So inspiring as well. And what you said about, yeah, running away, or because when someone is changing the job all the time, then but it will not go away. It will always be the same,
Right,
let's say, cause, or, yeah.
right. And we see it in relationships too. We see it a lot in relationships. I've been divorced. I've been divorced for over 10 years. I've dated. I mean, I've seen it all. And 9 times out of 10, so many people, those subsequent relationships don't work out because we ran away from something. We didn't confront the thing we ran from, and then it's appearing again and again and again in our subsequent relationships. So it's really a great question to ask you anytime you're looking to navigate a major change. Am I running towards something? Am I excited about it? Or am I running away and trying to escape from something I don't want to deal with?
Yes, that's important. Thank you so much. And my next question is, from executive search to executive coaching, what strategies helped you build trust and traction in a completely new lane?
So I would actually say it's not a completely new lane. One of the things that I did in the spirit of running towards something or away from something is I took out a bunch of sheets of paper, and at the top of every page I wrote down every job I had ever had back to high school. And I wrote down, okay, what are the things I remember loving about that job? And what are the things I remember not loving so much about that job? And what I started to see were patterns. And when I started pulling the threads on the patterns, the things that I really loved doing, I really loved working with people. I really loved, coaching and mentoring people. I think anytime you're a leader or a mentor or a parent or obviously like a sports coach, you are coaching people. You're trying to inspire them to be better and live, and achieve the goals they want to achieve. Teachers do this all the time, and what I realized is this pattern of coaching throughout my career is as a leader, as a sales leader, when I was helping, down to my first job out of college selling new homes, I was coaching people on how to make that kind of investment, how to make that move, how do you deal with, all the nuance and chaos of selling a home to move into a new one. Like, it's all coaching. And so when I started to pull that thread and I shifted, and I realized, okay, I'm ready to make a change. I'm ready to run towards something new. It really wasn't as great of a leap for me as it appears because I've always been a coach. A lot of the skills that I use and leverage are drawn from my own experiences, self coaching, and trying to work through my stuff, so that I could run towards something new. But also, working with executives in making career transitions, there was a lot of coaching there. How do you know this is gonna be the right move? What are the types of environments that you thrive in? And really helping them, distill down into the reasons why they were considering making a job change in the first place. Because the last thing I ever want to do as a recruiter is place somebody in a job, pull somebody out of a perfectly good job and place them somewhere else and it doesn't work out. Like, that just doesn't feel good. And so I took a lot of personal responsibility for ensuring that it was a good fit for everyone involved, not just my client, but also the candidate.
Oh, I love that. That sounds like a win-win-win situation.
Yeah, most of the time it was. Every once in a while it doesn't work, and that's okay. But it's about asking the right questions at the right time.
Yes, I love it. Thank you so much for being my guest today. Of course, I have another question. It is about your own coaches and mentors. Do you have coaches for yourself, and who is the best coach you ever had?
Oh, well, that's like asking me to name my favorite child, Caroline. I don't know if I can do that. Um, I have worked with many coaches. They and I will answer the question. I've worked with many coaches. I've had several over the course of my career. I work with currently several coaches. I have someone I work with for my health. I have a personal trainer that I just started working with. I have a business coach I'm working with. I just ended an engagement with personal brand coach who was very helpful and she was amazing. But if I have to say the one coach and pick the best, I'm going to go back about 10 years to an executive coach I worked with during a really challenging period in my career. I was in a job that, looking back, did rely on my strengths and play to my strengths, but I don't think that my strengths were a good fit for the organization. And I had a really difficult relationship with my boss, and it was extremely stressful. And I engaged her, and she helped me navigate that very strategically, and helped me remove some of the emotion from the situation so that I could make good decisions. And ultimately, she moved on to create a coaching school to teach coaches and certify coaches through the International Coach Federation. And I went through her program, and she is where my coaching journey, kind of the rubber met the road. And so I would say she was probably the best coach because she influenced not just a really difficult time in my life and my career, but also influenced my ability to make the next step into my future.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much. Yes, it is so important to ask for help and support because we don't have to do it alone. And
Exactly.
please tell us, where can we find you when people want to reach out to you after listening
I appreciate you
to this?
asking. I appreciate you asking. You can find me on LinkedIn. It's Allison Christina Williams on LinkedIn, and my website is www.allisonchristina with Williams, and that's ALLISONKRISTINA Williams.com.
I love it. Thank you so much. Of course, I put the links in the show notes. And my
Wonderful.
last question for you today is about your goals and intentions. Do you set goals for yourself or intentions? And what is one of your next projects?
Oh, so I love that you use the word intentions because I am a big fan of that. I shudder when I hear, I know we're supposed to all chase smart goals. I hate smart goals. I I do. And my clients are like, I suppose you're going to have me do smart goals. Actually, I'm not. I want to know what your intentions are because I think that we're human, we're fluid. I think that we all having an intention is a little bit softer than having a goal. And I think when we have a goal, it's too easy to fall short and fall off. But an intention leaves a little bit of flexibility. So, my intentions this year are really to take a breath from the last 8.5 years of running pretty hard, take a breath, focus on my clients, building my business. But I have a goal to I cannot I'm gonna admit this, I cannot do a push-up. I find that fascinating. I'm 53 and I realized I can no longer do a push-up. And I'm going to do a push-up. I wanna do 11 push-ups. I saw a doctor on I listened to a doctor on Mel Robbins, one of Mel Robbins' shows, and she said you need to be able to, extra 45 minutes on the treadmill at a speed of 4. You need to be able to sprint at the end, do 11 push-ups. I'm like, 11 push-ups, because mobility is really important to me as I age because I wanna be able to do what I'm doing for a very long time. So my goal right now is 1 push-up. And I'm really proud of that goal, and that just goes to show the goal doesn't have to be big or monstrous. It can be tiny. It can be a tiny goal, but for me, that's a huge goal. I wanna do 1 push-up. I wanna really commit to my physical health, recommit to my physical health. I have a client goal. I wanna work with really cool people, and really get to know them and have a positive influence on other people the way my coaches have had a positive influence on me. And ultimately, I have a child in college, and I'm really my goal there is get her across the finish line and off the payroll. That is my goal.
I love that goals. Thank you so much for sharing. And it's so important. I did not know this about the fitness thing. Or yeah, we can look up this podcast as well, where you listen to. Yes, it is really interesting. So let's do this again, this interview 1 year from now, and then we see where you are at with your push-ups.
A
Can we do
deal, a deal, and if I can do
Oh,
it, I'll do it on camera.
my goodness. Okay. I take your word. Thank you so much for our interview. And now it's time for your final thought to the audience,
Oh,
please.
I think, my final thought is to, really spend some time with yourself and think about what you enjoy and don't allow anyone else to come into the picture. Well, I can't do that because of the kids. I can't do that because of my spouse. I can't do that because I have bills. Forget all the can't do's and just think about what you want from your life and what kind of life you want to live, and then take small steps towards living that. Whether that's engaging a coach or picking one small intention that will get you one step closer. I find that most people feel stuck because they just simply forget to take time to move forward. And all we really want from our experience as a human being is forward progress. And so, if we can pick one thing to help us get forward progress, if it's cleaning out that closet that's been nagging at us, cleaning out a drawer, getting the laundry done over the weekend versus waiting till Monday. That's my MO. That's the one I'm working on. Just one little step, a push up, a pull up, a sit up, one thing to move you forward. It's amazing how much that will motivate you into doing the next small step.
Oh, that's so true. Thank you for sharing. It's in the small steps, and I'm inspired now.
Wonderful.
Thank you.